But one show that I have been watching and I'm fully caught up on, as are you, is Superman and Lois. So we're going to be wrapping up this episode with a long form discussion on the last three episodes that have aired so far of Superman and Lois. There are two left in season two. So we're ramping up. We're heading towards the season two finale. And the remainder of this episode will be dedicated towards dissecting the last three episodes. So if you are not someone who's watching Superman and Lois, I don't know what is the matter with you, but now is a fair point to jump off of episode 153 of the Fanboy. And thank you for listening. And we hope you have liked or rated or reviewed the show by now and told your friends about us. And now, without further preamble, let's talk about Superman and Lois. So,
Yes, let's.
After the most recent hiatus, there have been 3 episodes since we've come back, and they've covered a lot of ground. So let me just ask you, just generally speaking, through these last 3 episodes, how are you feeling about where season 2 is headed?
Yeah, I'm loving season 2. I really like the threats that they set up for Superman. I love all the Bizarro World stuff. Yeah, it's been really good. I think I'm trying to. I don't even. This is gonna be hard for me to actually go back 3 episodes. I don't know if I remember. You might have caught up more recently because I've been watching as they've been airing.
Yeah.
But I think what was the last one we talked about? Did we talk about? We talked about the reveal that he revealed himself to Lana as
Yes,
Superman.
and that was like
Okay,
the
that was the
cliffhanger
last
before the
one.
last.
That was right.
hiatus. Yeah.
So yeah, that's been interesting to navigate. That relationship has changed quite a bit since that reveal, and it's trickling down and affecting the family and the kids in a way,
Yeah.
and Lois as well. It's really having a lot of ramifications in their personal life, which is interesting outside of the super threats that are going on. But I'm really digging it.
And
yeah.
That was gonna be my question, Allie. Now that we've had all these questions the whole season, what is this Allie thing gonna lead to? Is it gonna live up to this threat that they keep talking about? What does this mean? The merging and the thing. So now we've finally gotten to see some Allie. What were you gonna say?
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, she's a little what's the word? She's a little mustache twirly. I think a little bit, and I still don't. I kind of get her end game, but I'm still not like 100% understanding like why she's doing all this. So that's been maybe like if I had to give like a little nitpick, a little thing, and she's just kind of just always just doing the God float around, with
she just did a lot.
So some of the like the more like drama-y. It's interesting this season. It's like they kind of just pivoted all like the human drama onto like Lana and her family almost. Like a lot of that is there, and a little more melodramatic kind of stuff, which I could maybe do a little less with. That's a testament to the writers, just because I just find Clark and Lois and the kids so interesting that I sometimes don't want to like part ways with them, but I understand why they have to like do that and balance it out. And but overall, like I said, really enjoying it. This most recent episode I just watched before and finished right before we started recording leaves things in a really interesting position for the final 2 episodes. So
yeah, well, for me, just in terms of general things, there's so much brilliant Superman mythologizing happening on this show and reinventing of the Superman myth and little tweaks and things that are hark back to the past. Like, I'm so in love. So, okay, the Allie thing, her merged self essentially becoming a version of the Superman villain Parasite. I didn't see that coming. To me, I've always, and they actually used the verbiage this time in case anyone missed it in the most recent episode. It's like, and now she's developed like a parasite where she can suck, the energy out of Superman, whatever. And I'm like, and that's one of Superman's most well-known villains. He's like a mini boss. I've always felt like he's never been compelling enough to be the main thing. But Parasite's always been a Superman villain. So Allie becoming some version of that, I think, is really cool. This stuff where in Superman's absence, you have heroes rising up in his place. It happened briefly when he went to Bizarro World and was there for a month. and we saw Superboy and Steel step up, right? But now it seems to be on the verge of happening again, where we're going to get to it, but he has no powers at the end of the most recent episode, and they seem to be teasing that Steel and his daughter and Jordan are going to be having to step up and fill Superman's shoes. And that's perfect. There's a synergy there. There's a connection there to the Death of Superman storyline, because when in the
Right.
Death of Superman storyline, that is when Steel rose to fill the vacuum of Superman. That's when there was the new Superboy who was premiered, when his little leather jacket and all that sort of
Right.
stuff. But yes, that's not Jordan Kent, but there was a Superboy who rose up in the vacuum of a Superman who can't help us anymore. So I just love
Right.
those little things where, like, it's reminiscent of older stories, but there's a spin on it. There's
Yeah.
it's just it pushes the mythology in a new sort of direction. And then even Clark and Lana's relationship in this series is phenomenal to me and kind of groundbreaking when it comes to Superman in general, to the way it's been handled in the past. Because when we return from hiatus and finally get to see Lana's thoughts on finding out this secret, and we go later on in that episode into a flashback into what happened, we basically learned that Clark came back to Smallville after deciding he was going to be Superman and disappearing for a time to prepare for that mission. He came back to Smallville to get his girl back. He
Yeah.
came back to Smallville expecting that Lana would be there and they could hopefully pick up where they left off. And when he gets there, there's Lana having moved on now with Kyle. So that's interesting to kind of look at Clark's adult life through that vantage point of, like, actually
Right.
he wanted to end up with Lana. His plan A was Lana Lang. She
Right.
moved on. He ends up in Metropolis. He meets someone else, and thankfully it's Lois, and it's incredible with Lois. But
Right.
that sort of twist on things, I think, is interesting. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was
that I've
really
ever
cool.
seen Clark, portrayed as Lana being his main love that he hopes to be with, and that the reason it ends is because she goes and marries someone else. It almost reminded me of like Superman Returns. We're talking about things that are similar but different. He returned from being randomly away to find that his love interest had found a new man. You
Yeah.
know, so I thought that was a very interesting sort of twist on the mythology too. And in general, I just love what the series is doing with taking Superman tropes, taking established bits of Superman lore, but putting their own sort of unique twist and spin on it. And to me, it's so exciting. It makes it so fresh. It makes it so, like, I have no real idea where they're going next, what they're going to pull from next. And yeah, it's so cool to see. But
Yeah.
now, yeah, let's break down a little bit, what came out of the first episode back from the break. So after Clark revealed himself to Lana, her reaction, it threw her for a loop, right? It threw
Yeah.
her for a loop, and ultimately she made the decision to cut the Kents out of her life. And I don't think anyone saw that coming,
Yeah.
but with that in mind, like, I feel like one of the big themes of this series so far, through 2 seasons, I think one of the big themes has been the cost of secrets, the weight
Hmm.
and cost of having a double life and what that means. And that excites me, Brett, because as Superman fans, I feel like we've always just taken for granted that he's got a double life, that he pretends to be someone else half the time, and that he's got to lie to a lot of the people that actually mean the most to him. We've just taken for granted. That's just part of the mythology, from 1938. This guy's a mild-mannered reporter. Like, we've never really given any thought to the idea of, but what happens with those secrets? And what toll does that take on your relationship to those around you when you can't be fully yourself with them? And in season 1, they explore that a lot with the sons, with the cost it was having on Clark's family life, suddenly having this double life, and Lois can't really keep the secret as well anymore because the kids they're getting stronger and older and they're getting more aware of things, and Jordan's developing powers. You know, the cost of secrets to me has been something that even came back up now with this, because as we try to understand why Lana cuts the Kents out, one of the things is she doesn't want to tell her daughter about this because this could put her daughter in danger. Because it's not just
Right.
about, you know, even if Sarah wants to keep the secret forever, that's an incredible burden now to know that you have this secret that keeps an entire family potentially at risk and yourself at risk for you being associated with these people. And I feel like we've never seen the Superman myth approach this way. We've never seen
Yeah.
a dissection of the cost of double lives and secrets. And even Kyle's living his own thing because he was living a double life for a time, and then it ended and he thought he got away with it, but ultimately it came back to bite him. And Lana found out, and now he's paying the price and he's going through
Right.
his own arc through that. But a lot of the series, I feel like a recurring thing has been the cost of secrets and keeping yourself from your loved ones and not being your full self with the people who know you best, and how dangerous
Sure.
that can be and how unfair that can be. So, you know, I know there's been a lot of drama with the Lang family, or whatever the married
Yeah.
name is, Kyle,
Cushing's, I think, right? Yeah.
yeah, the Cushings, but I feel like it's been for a good cause. I think it's been all part of a very interesting sort of dissection of a part of the Superman lore that usually just kind of gets ignored, which is the cost of double lives and secrets.
Yeah.
You know,
What an interesting challenge for Superman. Like,
yeah,
that's how you challenge him. You know, when the guy who can, punch through everything and punch his way out of any situation, technically, like, that's how you challenge him and keep him compelling. Like, so that,
yeah,
again, showing the writers, really know how to write a Superman story. And
they
it is
really do.
possible. It is
It
possible
really
to
is
have a good
possible.
Superman story. Um,
Yes.
so
And then there have been so many great like Superman moments scattered throughout, but how about him taking Jordan to the North Pole
I
and
was going to
training
bring that
him?
up. That
How
was such a
amazing was
great
that?
sequence. That was his
Yes,
flight, his flight sequence,
his
learning how
first
to
flight.
fly, and I loved
Yeah.
how they did it. There was
Yep.
even a funny little Star Wars joke in there, where he
I'm
said,
glad you said
"This is
that.
where I do it." He
I
goes,
call
"I
it the
call it the
Kessel Run.
Kessel Run." He goes, "What's that?" And he was just like, "Oh," and it
By the
was
way,
great.
I just want you to know that like I'm going to sound like such an exaggerator or such a sap, but I almost cried tears of joy when he said that, because the
Yeah.
idea that we're establishing a Superman who's a Star Wars geek,
Oh
you're
yeah, I love that.
you're
Clark's
going
he's
right for
nerdy. I
my
love that.
heart.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Clark Kent making a Star Wars reference and being upset his son doesn't know it. That
Yeah.
spoke so to my soul that I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, the people writing this are writing this for me. That's how it feels
So
sometimes.
so after Jordan, he falls down like the big giant
Yeah.
valley, and he's about to hit the floor, and then he just thrusts his arms out and he
Yeah.
goes, and it was great. They had the little musical cue, and then he flies back up, and then Clark notices him. He's like, you're not slowing down. He's like, you
Yeah.
got to learn how to slow down.
And then he
So he
has to,
saves
yeah.
him. But when they land, the look on Clark's face
They're
when he was just like,
jumping.
and the jumping was so great. It was heartwarming. It was such an awesome
Yes.
moment because he was just like so proud of his son, and like it was just
Oh
whatever. You
my,
just
yeah.
fucking he had his first flight, and he
Yeah.
got the shit. It wasn't when Clark did it, it was like by himself. You know what I mean? And like
Yes.
he got
Yeah,
to
it's
do that
true.
with his son, and it was just really nice. It was a really really well done moment. Really
Yep.
cool.
I love when we get like the Superman version of regular father moments. You know what I mean? Because that moment of jumping up and down with your son, like that could have happened, in real life. That'll happen on a baseball field when your son
Yeah,
gets
you
hit
hit a home run,
or
or you
whatever.
gotta.
But
Yeah,
yeah, the Superman version of it is you just flew. But but
yeah,
like in general, the Superman version of father things, I love a great deal. And they do a lot of that on the show too. Now they kind of get serious a little bit. There was a scene with Jonathan that really touched me in the latest episode. Also, remember earlier on this season, when Clark found out about what Jonathan was doing with the XK, he came down on him real hard, and we got to see Clark Kent, use the dad voice and really
Yeah.
come down on him.
The
But this time,
disciplinarian.
yeah, but this time we got the part B, the bookend to that, where essentially he explains to Jonathan, like, I would love, as your father, it's so hard for me to let you make mistakes. I want to basically shield you from everything. I want to make sure that you don't, go through anything, but I also know that you have to learn and you're going to
Right.
make mistakes, and I'll be here whenever you do. And I'm like, what a perfect, that's how Superman would parent. Because that is so many fathers, parents in general, I feel, we feel that way. We feel this helplessness where with your kids, you wish that there was something you could say that would make them avoid certain pitfalls, or make them avoid their first heartbreak, or make them avoid their first painful issue. You always want to try to give them that one bit of advice that makes them avoid stuff. But at the end of the day, power, and you realize they have to learn from their mistakes. They're gonna fall down, and they're gonna go through a lot of this stuff, whether you help them or not. And you just have to stand back and be there to help them pick up the pieces. And that's it. And Superman, basically, Clark approaching it from that vantage point of like, you're going to make mistakes, but I'll be here. That was just,
Yeah.
to me, that's that. On top of that, too, like, we're talking about the Superman version of regular father things. Superman, more than any other father, could probably do a really good job of insulating his sons from ever really dealing with any real hardship. If he really wanted to,
Yeah.
and use his abilities and be really hands-on, he could make sure his sons are always just fine. So for him, it's even more of that helplessness of like, I want to help you not end up in dark places, but I
Yeah.
have to forcibly stop myself and let you live your life. And I just want you to know that no matter what happens, I'll be here for you.
Yeah.
I
No,
love
that
that
was that
stuff.
was a really good moment, really
Yeah.
well acted moment. Tyler, was it
Yeah.
Hoechlin? He's just really good. He's really
Yeah.
good. He gets the character. He's really good. He's doing everything he can with every bit of dialogue and writing he gets from that writing
Yep.
team there, and he's just knocking it out of the park.
Yep.
He's really good.
And the other big thing that was established here was that Tal Rowe is now out and about, and we don't know where he is on the main
Yeah,
Earth of the show. Um, so that's interesting. But aside from that, we also saw that the Tal Rowe in the Bizarro world also had a noble heart. And I think that's all interesting because it seems like, regardless of which Earth, the writers or whomever are trying to let us know, like, Tal Rowe at his core is good. There's
right,
a nobility and a goodness to him that in both versions of Earth. In one, he woke up towards the very end and realized, okay, I failed my brother on this Earth and he's dead, but I'm not going to fail this brother, and he stops Allie and all that sort of stuff. We
right,
already know about Tal Rowe on the main Earth, who he seems like he's been on a redemption arc for a while now anyway, and they
right,
completed that 3 episodes ago. Clark went to see him. He got him out of the prison stuff. He reconnected with Lois. He apologized for his mistakes. There was an interesting tension between him and Lois, but even
yeah,
Lois seemed to understand by the end that he's not going to hurt us. He's already saved us like three
right.
times. Like, it's
Yeah, he
interesting.
helped him
Like,
destroy the pendant.
yeah,
They teamed up, and yeah, I really
and yeah,
that's something too. That was something I really enjoyed seeing. Like that was
yeah,
a really cool. It's been done very well.
and yet now
And
he's
he's gonna
out
have to
there
come back
somewhere.
into the picture. There's 2 episodes left,
Yeah.
so he's gonna have to come back in at the end here.
Although a part of me wonders too if they're going to set up, like, what if he goes to the Bizarro world and he tries to be like the Superman, the savior of that world. Like, at the end, when this is all over, like,
That could
like
be that's good,
somehow,
pretty cool. Yeah,
right? Like, maybe over the, like, but then again, would he have powers there? Or since it's inverted, he'd be human. He wouldn't
right.
be
Yeah,
able
I
to
don't
be.
know, or he'd be a lot
Yeah.
weaker. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
But I feel like,
that's a
they,
cool little thing for him. Yeah,
Right? It'd be interesting if he could go there and use, what abilities he would have to try to, do good in that world. Since there is no Superman, there is no Talro anymore because Allie killed that Talro at the end of one of these episodes, and presumably Allie won't be around by the end of the season. So it'll be like a power vacuum in the Bizarro land. So maybe that's where Talro ends up. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm hooked into this. Even the stuff with Lucy and Lois and General Lane, I felt like a lot of that is hitting a lot of the right emotional notes for
Hmm.
me. And yeah, all in all, I can't wait for the final 2 episodes of season 2. The show
Yep.
keeps moving along and keeps getting me more and more excited for where they're going next. So, last thing before we wrap up, you mentioned
Sure.
the musical the
Motif.
music
Yeah.
cue, the motif that they gave Jordan. So you heard it this time, right?
Yes.
Because they played it also when he was doing that hooded Superboy rescue of
Yes.
Kyle like 4 or 5 episodes ago, where they've already established like a Superboy theme, which makes me wonder one of two things. Are they going? Does this mean that as the series wears on, they're going to continue to beef up his role to where he is a Superboy? It's Superman and Lois and Superboy,
Right.
or in this world that we live in of expanded universes and spin-offs and sequel series and stuff, would they maybe be considering a Superboy show for Jordan when Superman and Lois has run its course? Because they
Right.
gave him his own freaking superhero theme here, and
Right.
it seems like, maybe they're setting something up there. What would you rather? I'm just at this stage of the game. Would you rather to see a continued expansion and importance of Jordan Kent's role, or would you like him to get his own series in some short amount of time from now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to just see his role grow within this show, and because I really hope this show has like a nice run.
Yeah, me too.
And hopefully, like, also, like, it doesn't need to go on for 10 seasons. Like, if like by season 5 they're like, we're running out of ideas, like maybe they'll just wrap up at season 5, or like season
Yeah,
4 or something like that. That's cool with me. But I don't know if they did a spinoff. I don't know. It's weird
yeah,
now because now it's like I'm so attached to Tyler Hoechlin, so it's like I
yeah,
want my Superman, and you can do Superboy. I mean, I'll be honest, just from like if I really want to like dig down, I don't know that I like him as an actor. I think the kid who plays Jonathan is a little bit stronger of an actor than Jordan.
mm,
The kid who plays Jordan personally.
yeah,
So I don't know if he could like carry a whole show, and then if he's still gonna be like younger, is it then just gonna be like? Is it just going to be like young Superman going through high school kind of thing, and then it's like at that point like you might lose the relatability for me at least because
yeah.
I'm fucking in my mid 30s. By the time they have like a season 5, I'm 6. I'm gonna be freaking 40. So it's like at that point, I don't know if I'm ready to like watch the high school drama anymore. So
I got you.
the little bits I get in here is enough, and helps round out the show. So yeah,
Okay.
but I'm happy to like just keep him in this show and keep showing like the challenges that Clark has with raising him, and like maybe we're still seeing definitely. Especially in this most recent episode, Jonathan's still feeling a little left out of everything. They went to go.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, we went to a flying training." He's like, "Oh, cool. Well, I just stood here and did all the chores by myself. So awesome. I'm gonna go take a shower." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's definitely that. I wonder where that road's headed. If like there's really gonna be a big. I mean, there's been a little bit of butting heads, but I wonder if that's really gonna snowball into something, um,
Yeah.
crazy. So we'll see. So yeah,
We'll see.
I'm happy with the show and let that go and let that evolve. And then when it's run its course, it's run its course. I don't need a spinoff.
All
They'll
right.
want to do a
I'm with you.
spinoff, of course, but I don't need one.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. For what it's worth, I'm with you too. I hope this thing runs for like I want the 10 seasons, Brett. All right. So I hope this thing runs a good long time and they don't water it down by spinning it off or focusing more on, expanding the Superboy lore and forgetting about Superman. No, no, no. So yeah, I hope that they don't. But just the fact giving him his own theme and this more focus lately just has me wondering.
Yeah.
I'm like, somebody over there is thinking about a Superboy show. Somebody's
Oh,
thinking
I'm
about
sure.
it.